he's trying to tame her, but she cannot be tamed. Boom, I'm back. I told you I would be. We're in part 2 of the Empress comics, and we're gonna jump right back into it. Okay, so while I was writing the script, I had forgotten Blondie's name, and I went to look it up just now, and his name is Carl. Isn't that funny? For what he is and for the person he is. I'm sorry, the name Carl just made me laugh. So this guy is an obvious villain from the jump. He's not a sleeper at all. He just sucks. And he's worse than Sobashu, actually, at least in my opinion, because he has no issue putting his so-called love in danger to prove a point. Even when Sobashu divorced Navier, he had preparation and plans in place to keep her near him, and so he could keep tabs on what she was doing. He was constantly checking up on her even after she left. Even when she was living in the Western Empire with her new husband, he was checking up on her. But Blondie has such a dangerous personality. He's kind of like Rashta, actually, so that's interesting. Imagine if Rashta was the emperor and also had an Oedipus complex. So I'm not sure that he's capable of love until he goes to therapy, because being in love with your mother is not good grounds for a romantic relationship. This is his mom and this is Diane. Make of that what you will. His mother was the emperor's mistress, and the real empress never had a child, so he ended up with the throne. And so now he's like paranoid also a little bit. I feel that. This comic's backstory is like what would have happened if Navier never divorced Sobashu and just went along with his idiotic plan to raise Rashta's child. The funniest thing Carl has done is when he first met Adelaide, he was so rude, dismissive. He was pulling his guard dog duties because apparently Diane had felt insulted by Adelaide and expressed her discomfort. Anyway, he continued to be rude and weird until he realized how gorgeous this woman is, and he switched it up immediately. He started ignoring Diane. He's running to the Empress's side when she wasn't feeling well, clocking Lionel for stepping up to his woman. And if we didn't have access to his thoughts, you might be touched by those actions, but instead it turns out he's just started comparing Adelaide to his stepmom, who also had black hair. I don't think any woman has truly loved him as an equal, and that's why he acts like this. Diane is using him, and she's a concubine, so she can't correct any inappropriate behavior he exhibits. And he's so far up his own butt, he won't listen to his sister either. The only person he listens to is the same creepy dude that Diane and her magic twin have to rely on. So now he thinks this is how you romance someone. You try to control them and you force them to stay with you whenever you feel like it. So not once has the emperor been a good dude in these. That is my wish now, to see a nice emperor who is also a main character and not a side character. People think nice characters are boring, but I think this genre has earned it. Nice emperor with a corruption arc as he's torn between two women who feel entitled to his attention. Get it done. Last but not least, the second male lead or the second emperor. The second male lead is not always the emperor. Sometimes he's just a really important guy, and his job is to save the empress from her horrible, lonely trash life with the tyrant emperor and the conniving mistress. And for remarried empress, that person is Henri, I think is how you say it. He's very happy-go-lucky. He's got a bright exterior. Definitely hiding something though. He is kind of sneaky, but he is more open about communicating his feelings to Navier, which is what she was missing in her previous relationship. And he is a blonde, but he's not insane, so he's breaking that stereotype. He is, however, a homewrecker. He went to the Western Empire with full intentions of wooing Navier, I think. He got lucky that she was feeling pushed out and saw his shot and he took it. I don't buy that he was only there to be a diplomat, and I think he's planning to invade them. It's been implied a few times during the comic. It's not like 100% clear yet, but I think that's what's gonna happen. Then for Abdicated Empress, we have Lionel. He's not an emperor. He's from an important house, and he's like a general. He fights the monster towers that are plaguing the region. He's not as open about his feelings, but that's mostly due to their social standing. I'm pretty sure if he was on her level, he would have been declaring his love already. And so because he has to answer to a higher power and he is directly below the emperor, he cannot provoke the emperor, and he definitely could not run into a ballroom claiming that he's going to marry her like Henri did. He was very bold with that. But Adelaide is more proactive than Navir when it comes to matters of the heart, so I'm curious to see how they'll end up together and if she will initiate their relationship or not. Funny though, they both followed the Empress around like a puppy if allowed to, but I don't think they're very similar personality-wise or in their circumstances. Time for some gossip, people, as we talk about who stole the Empress. I believe it has a 4.9 currently because of certain non-consensual events. So the male lead, who is not an emperor, he's the second love interest. His family has a curse or a genetic disease that will kill him unless he releases fluids regularly. And you're thinking, oh, well, can't he get some lotion and head to the bathroom? No, he can't. It has to be with a person, a transfer of bodily fluids, and the fluids have the power to heal people for some reason. So in the beginning, he has to save the Empress since she's been tortured for months and is like abandoned in the mountainside and might freeze to death. And so he starts kissing and licking and it escalates, and this goes on for days, and I'm not sure she's even fully conscious for a lot of this, but well, it's the only way to save her, and no doctors can do it, only him. And people were understandably weirded out by that. I got curious and looked over Webtoon's guidelines about stuff like this, and it says no depiction of harm, so maybe because he was healing her and it's really censored, the comic has been able to live. In the comic itself, I was getting 50 Shades of Grey vibes from it a bit. You know, that genre where the love isn't the fantasy, it's like being dominated and having a strong, hot alpha male that makes decisions for you and you just have to be pretty and perfect. But you can't be really misogynistic, only a little, as a treat, because that's the only way it's so cute. In my personal opinion, this comic, I feel like it could have been better received if the beginning was written differently. The beginning was just not great. Exposition tells us half the story instead of letting it play out. It's like the prologue is catching us up to speed instead of giving us a sneak peek of what's to come. Natasha, the mistress, she tells us her plan and all the horrid things they're going to do to the Empress, and then it immediately fast forwards to those things just having happened already. And an unfortunate feature of this is that I don't understand why these people hate each other. I don't know why the Emperor is mad, why he can't do things without the Empress's approval, what was his job, what was her job, what is the conflict in their country. The second male lead, he's mad that the Empress always outmaneuvered him during their diplomatic meetings, but he's also fascinated. Okay, can I get some instances of them having banter or arguments? Because right now, I'm not feeling the love, I'm only feeling the kidnapping, and he's not charismatic at all, and she's always running away from him. She only blushes when he's like threatening assault or claiming to love her, which I could buy her liking this if we'd gotten to see how she lived before this, learn about her desires, what was she missing in her life, what habits did she have, how does she see herself outside of her job. Since she's like this perfect, pure, selfless empress who only does things for others, the one thing that she's acted like she wanted personally this whole time is to die because her whole family's dead and stuff. You know, Natasha, she knocked him off. Thankfully, she gets over that because it was getting old. It was a cycle of her hurting herself and then him healing her by force, and it was a strange plot point because I wasn't even sure she was depressed. It was made so she was feeling that way because she lost her family and felt like she had nothing to live for. And maybe she was depressed because of how stoic her personality is, but we aren't given levels to her personality to compare to in the past, and some people are just like that. I can't make assumptions. Through all of this, she's still proud and pretty confident, acting like a soldier. She knows what she wants and she's going for it. If she wants to jump off that cliff, she's gonna jump off the cliff. Now, the beginning of the other Empress comics, we get to see what led up to the divorces and what led up to the attempted assassination, and we learn about the characters. I wish they had tried something similar instead of introducing us to already killed off characters that we don't care about, combined with the evil plan smut scene and then the bodily fluid superpowers, because of this, the mistress ended up being a more interesting character for me. She had goals. She's making them happen. She's gonna raise her son to overthrow his dad, the emperor, and then she's gonna take power. Okay, queen, slay, he sucks. And then we have the empress, who's just continually trying to end it all because she was a stranger to me. I didn't really care. I was like, okay, when is she gonna stop doing this? When are they gonna have a conversation? Like, he's not gonna let you kill yourself. Just give up, okay? And I'm wondering if they had trouble, if this was a novel before and they had trouble adopting it to a comic form and just decided that this was the best course of action to get to the juicy stuff. But it's not juicy because you didn't give me anything else to put with it. You gave me hot sauce, but you didn't give me any chicken wings. And I'm sure you're all wondering if I'm going to finish this, and the answer is no, I cannot. And it's because of this guy. Putting aside that he's really boring and he's not cool, you know? He's kind of like watching paste dry. His personality. This dude's aide is funnier than he is, but to be honest, both of them are boring, the Empress and the second male lead. How do you go through all of this and still behave like you're mentally stable? There should be something wrong with them. Besides the curse and besides her sobbing in bed after having PTSD flashbacks, I know that's realistic, but we're reading a comic, we can get creative. The Emperor was emotionally abused by his father, that's why he's insane. His poison powers make him sick because there's like a blowback, and that pisses him off too. Our smexy male lead, his whole family is dead because of this curse. He himself is in tremendous pain because of this. And the dude's not weird. Why is he normal? The worst thing he's done personality-wise is complain about a perfume smell. The mistress's whole family was murdered, but she was betrayed, she was shoved into a whole new environment. Where was her rage? A few pretty words from the big strong man and she doesn't want to kill herself anymore? I don't buy it. The male lead even asked her, don't you want to set that place on fire? What's wrong with you? I agree. Maybe she gets somewhere after I stopped reading. I stopped reading around chapter 15. I'm gonna have faith that she changed after that. She got angry when the king murdered her parents, but after that she just completely lost the will to live and she was like, oh, that's okay then, I'll just die too. Like, no girl, vengeance, come on now. But all this stuff made it difficult to take an interest in them as the main characters. I don't have to like characters to read or watch something, but I would like to find them interesting at the very least. Outside of his condition, every time they talk about his stupid curse, I'm reminded of bodily fluids and my reading experience is ruined. So if you aren't easily grossed out by that kind of stuff, then this story is for you. So now it's time to talk about the favorite child, the Empress Lipstick. It's an isekai and the female lead, she belongs to the modern world. And the Empress Lipstick really, it shakes up the genre a bit, I feel. It changes up the characters where they belong and what kind of personality they're supposed to have. So the main leads are not the Emperor and the Empress. They're the prince and the princess, and our female lead is the princess. The prince's dad is the Emperor, and the Empress is actually dead. She was murdered, and we suspect that the current mistress has something to do with it. Another thing that's different is because the mistress is with the king, not the prince. She's an enemy, but she's not a love rival. Prince has zero interest in that woman. He hates her, actually. Like, he wants her to be found guilty of murder and ostracized and to get away from his father, because his father is definitely being poisoned by her. Now the Emperor actually has a love rival in this, a serious love rival, and it's Fabian, the princess's aide, and he has game, and he's also pretty funny. He's got a great personality. This comic also is doing a bit of commentary on beauty and how superficial our society can be. So the female lead in the modern world, she thinks she's ugly because she doesn't have a face that fits the typical beauty standards of, I'm assuming, Korean society. I think that's where she is. She's in Korea, I think. And I'm sure anyone who has ever listened to K-pop or watched K-pop knows how narrow that space is of what constitutes as a beauty or natural beauty. So she gets really into makeup and is working to give herself that look so she can be I guess loved and respected. She really wants to be a makeup artist because she thinks that's cool. We see her abandon her face when she first comes to this new world because she has this magic lipstick that makes her gorgeous. She is happy that she's got a small face, a small nose, and these big eyes. She's like, oh my gosh, this is everything I've ever wanted. So I'm curious to see if by the end she will start to accept herself for what she is. Because she actually is cute. At least I think she's cute, but she doesn't think she's cute because she's looking at these girls in the magazine and seeing how they look and how they're so mature and beautiful, and that's what she wants. Now, so remember earlier when I was like, why are all the mistress characters always the most depressing, abused, tragic characters ever? Well, in Empress Lipstick, it was quite a breath of fresh air because there's two female adversaries, and the first one, the mistress trope character, is a rich girl of equal standing. She's got this pink hair, she's not blonde, and she's a noble trying to steal the throne position. She was not an orphan and she was not abused. And the second one isn't even her romantic rival. She's the king's sugar baby, and she's a normal person who's not ridiculously tragic. Not sure what her deal is though, because we didn't reach the villain backstory yet. I'm ready and waiting here. I also got curious and checked out a few Canvas Empress comics to see what's going on over there and if there's any other approaches to this type of story, and sadly most of them stopped updating after a few weeks, so I guess we won't be getting any more of those in originals for a while. Shedding a tear. That's all I have to say for today, y'all. Go read Empress Lipstick right now if you haven't. It's so funny and the friendships are beautiful. And go binge read Remarried Empress because it has 3 seasons and tons of chapters. You'll be here all night. If you enjoy comics and cartoons, or if you have a vendetta against Netflix, consider subscribing and stick around for more videos.